Hi there, David here, and today I want to share with you what I believe are some of the best layering samplers for creating sound effects. So it's no secret that when you are designing and creating sound effects, one of the best techniques that you can use is to layer sounds together. When you do that, it's really easy to create some new sounds that you've never heard before. The issue, though, is that if you're doing it manually, it can be quite time-consuming. So it's really great to be able to use a sampler to help you with that process. And usually most samplers will also have some sort of like randomization button or parameter where you can randomize pitch and stuff like that. So it's really great for just creating even more variety of sound effects. So with that said, what I like to do in this video is just share with you what the samplers are. I'll show you how they work, and then I'll also talk about some of the pros and cons, just so you can get an idea of what they might be useful for. With that said, before we jump in, if you are new here, I have a gift for you. It's my Sound Designer Starter Pack, just a sound pack I put together of over 900 sound effects that you can grab absolutely free for your commercial projects or personal projects. So check the link in the description for that if you are interested. All right, let's get into it. All right, here we are inside of Reaper, and let's just jump right in here with our first sampler here, and it is the Forge Randomization Engine. So this is a sample, a plugin by SoundSpark LLC. Currently, it's costs around $99 US dollars to purchase, and it's a Reactor ensemble. So you do need the full version of Reactor, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if it works in the player. I'm pretty sure you need the full version of Reactor to be able to use it. So yeah, so once you have it loaded, this is kind of what it looks like. And basically what it is you have 6 different samplers in here. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in there you can load different sound banks. And the way you do that is just up here inside of Reactor, you can click this little edit button. And then here you have your 6 different layers. And on here, now you can just drag and drop layers in here. So I already dropped in a couple of kick samples here for each layer like that. So you can just see here. Anyways, all of them have some kick samples that I loaded in. And then what you can do is you can just, I'm going to turn off all of these effects here so everything's down. And basically, you just click on the layered sampler, and then you can just hit trigger and see what sound you get. So it's just layering all 6 sounds together and playing through it. You can randomize, it's going to randomize the samples. Right, so pretty easy and basic way to use it. Of course, there's a lot more you can do. So like I said, here you can have some of the effects put in. So here we have pitch. I'm just going to increase that a little bit. Impact. I think this is a transient thing. I'm not 100% sure. Timing. This is timing offset between samples when they're going to start. And then timbre is like a EQ, if I'm not mistaken. So with that said, and with that done, now we can randomize and we'll have different sounds. So you'll notice every time I trigger, it's getting a new effect. So I think it chooses a value within the set amount here. So 3.4, so it's probably between like 0 and 3.4. I'm not 100% sure, but basically it chooses a new value every time you hit trigger. So then you get a different sound. Let's say you like that one. What you can do here is click on the freeze randomization. And now it's always the same sound. So if you want to like export it or just play it out or whatever, print it out, you can do that. Right? So right, this is a basic way of how it can work. You can also do like some crazy stuff like this here, like that. Let's randomize that. Right, so you can get some really cool sounds this way, and it's just a fun way to put stuff together. All right, so there's a lot more settings here, as you can see in the side plugin. I'm not going to go over everything, but just to quickly do an overview. Here you can process layers together. So right now it's assigning a new value for every single sampler. So let's say I have pitch here. The pitch value is going to be different for every single sampler. But if I want them to all be the same, I can just process layers together, and now they're all going to be the same. So I'm going to keep it off. Like I said before, you can freeze. You can randomize the volume. You can randomize the mute. So not all layers are going to be playing at the same time. They might get muted. So I'm just going to turn that off. All right, you also have an input analyzer. I think this triggers the effects, especially down here. If you turn on like pitch, timbre, impact, and timing, these are going to get affected based on like the input signal. So depending on when it gets triggered or when it passes a certain threshold, I think then they're going to get applied. Not 100% sure. Anyways, there's all of the details about it. If you turn on the information tab up here, you can just like hover over certain tabs here, and it'll let you know what it can do. All right, so let's just go over some of the pros and cons of this plugin here. So one of the things that's really great about it is that you have 6 different sound banks that are being applied 6 different effects separately. So this is really great if you want to have like, let's say you want a kick in here, maybe a whoosh on another sound bank, a spell in another one, right? You can separate each sound bank by like a different sound effect category and then just create more complex sounds that way. So that's really cool. The other thing that's good is the price is okay at $99. I think it does go occasionally on sale. If I'm not mistaken, for $50, I'm pretty sure I bought it at that price, but that was a couple of years ago now, so I'm not sure if it's still going at that price. Yeah, some of the cons here, though, is, of course, you do need the full version of Reactor, which, makes the price quite a bit more. But if you already have the full version, then this is a great plugin. And also, one of the things that I've noticed, I don't know if it's just me on my version, but whenever you load in samples, the root node of the sample gets assigned a different value based on its position. So right now the root node is 2 because this is sample number 2. So that means that it's getting pitched up 2 automatically when it should just be like at 0. So I have to like manually go into here and put everything at 0, or else they're all going to get pitched up at different pitches, right? So I have to do that for every single layer that's in here. So I think this is one of the biggest downsides for me when using this plugin. I've heard some people say that they don't have that issue. So I don't know if it's just something I'm doing or if it's just my version or something like that. But anyways, that's one of the big things about it. And the last thing is, I'm not sure that there's any kind of direct envelope controls for this. So let's say I'm triggering a sound. I have to wait till the sound finishes playing before I can like end the sound or like taper off the sound. Like there's no attack, decay, sustain, release for the sound. So it's hard for, like you can't really shape the sound the way that you might want to shape it. So I think those are the main downfalls to this plugin. But apart from that, it's really great and a lot of fun. All right, let's go on to our next plugin, and this is Weaponiser by Krotos Audio. So obviously Weaponiser, it's here and it's great for just making a whole bunch of awesome sound effects, gun sound effects, weapon sound effects. Of course, you can do a lot of other stuff like whooshes, spells, and different things. But for this tutorial right now, for this video, I'm just going to show a gunshot. All right, so here I've loaded a gunshot that I designed for my steampunk sound effect pack. It's just a weapon shot. So let's have a listen here. Right, and hopefully you can hear that every shot is obviously going to be a little bit different, and there's a few reasons for that, and we'll go over that for this plugin, why it's so good. So one is that you have 4 different components here, and these are all for your different parts of your shot. So you might have your onset, this is like right before your shot. You have your body, this is your main sound for your shot. Your thump, this is like your base or your impact part of the shot, and then of course you have your tail. All right, so for each of these, you have 4 different sound banks, and inside of those sound banks, you can load multiple different sounds, which is what I've done here. So for my onset here, you can hear these. Right? So with that, I also modulated the speed here, and you can just do that by clicking on this little ball here and then going up or down. So this is going to modulate the speed, and then same thing with the level for the volume. So if I do more, it's going to be more obvious here. Right, you get the idea. The pitch is going to be different. So this is for pitch and volume. Right, so with that, you can randomize the samples in here while at the same time randomizing the pitch and the level. Of course, you can do an envelope if you don't want to randomize for both of these. But of course, the power comes in when you can start randomizing. And of course, you can do that for each layer. So as you can see here, I have 3 different layers here. Same thing with the thump and for the tail. Right, so I've loaded multiple different layers for each of these, and then now you're always going to get a new randomization. They're always going to be lined up with different sounds, different layers, and you can just come up with almost, well, not endless, but a lot of variation. What's also great about this plugin is that it just comes with a bunch of effects. So right here in your like master section, you have each of your different channels, and on here you can put EQ, compressor, limiter, saturation, flanger, transient shaper, noise gate. You get the idea, right? You can put any kind of effects on here on individual channels so that you don't have to go out and use third-party plugins or anything like that. It's all kind of built into this one plugin, so it's like an all-in-one workhorse. All right, so for this plugin, for this sampler, the thing I like to use it best for, or the thing I think works best for, is to put sounds to picture. So let's say I had like a video up here. What I could do is I could easily just trigger my sound effect to picture up here. So what I could do is I could just go here, record, and then so I can just record, trigger the shots when I need them, and there you go. I can just leave this now on in my project and it'll be ready to go. So let's just talk about some of the pros and some of the cons. So one is that the pros, it's just great for putting sounds to picture, like I said. It's just quick and easy. You can just trigger and then you're done. Two is that you can layer randomize samples and your pitch and your volume really easily. Of course, I didn't go through everything here. So like here, you can scale your stuff. You can like offset different things if you need to so that you get the exact sound you want. You can also do burst mode. Let's see here. Right, burst mode where it's like shooting like a regular gun. Anyways, hopefully you get the idea. I like never use this just because I find it's not very good. Like it doesn't sound natural or realistic. But you can do that here. And yeah, so let's talk about some of the cons. So the cons is that this thing is very pricey. So for the price, just for the basic version, you're looking at $199 US just to get started. And that doesn't include any sound effects, any samples or anything. If you want the full version, I think it's like $400 or $500 to get everything included. So it's very expensive as a sampler. I guess it's like double what we had before for Forge. So some other things that I wish were changed or updated is that there's no like internal ducking or sidechaining inside of this plugin. So for weapon sound designs, it's really great to have ducking going on for different layers just so they can kind of interplay with each other. And right now, the only kind of way that you can go around that is by moving different components around in this like window up here. So if I can do that, that's great. But I wish I could like duck certain elements as one element is going in and out. Like for example, if I had the body shooting, I want this to be present and then duck maybe like the thump, and then I want maybe the thump to come out after. Or maybe I want the initial shot to duck the tail, and then I want the tail to come out after, or something like that, right? So anyways, it's a small thing, but it'd just be nice to have. The other thing that's really annoying that really stops me from using this is that it might be a small thing for some people, but for me, it's like I can't even see what samples I'm putting into here with the sample name. So if I look at just this onset sample, or let's do the body sample here. So if I look here, I don't know what this is. Like all I see is MWP1 because I can't see the sample name. So if I click again, I don't know what sample it is. Every time it's all different, but I don't know what sample it is. So it'd be nice if they had like sure, they can keep the first 4 or 5 whatever letters of the sample name. It'd be nice to see like the number at the end, like ... and then like to see the last 3 numbers or last 3 digits of the sample. So I know what it is. So right now I don't know what it is. And let's say I'm like, oh, I really like that one. I want to, or I don't like this one. Let's say I want to get rid of that one. And then I'm like, well, which one is it? I don't know which sound this is. I can't even tell what the name is. So it's like really annoying. I can't just go in here and delete it and get rid of it because I don't know which one it is. So I'd have to like solo this layer and then like go through each one. Is it this one? No. Is it this one? No. Like it's just a really long process. It's really annoying. Maybe there's a way around it. If there is, please let me know in the comments below. But as far as I know, this is, I don't know that there's a way to change this. The other thing that's annoying that I find very annoying is, let's say I have all these layers here for this thump. Cool. Okay. Let's say I have just one sample that I want to use that I really like, or maybe I want to tweak it or something. Okay. There's no way for me to lock this sample in place. As far as I know, maybe I'm wrong. And if so, I hope somebody can correct me. But as far as I know, there's no way to like lock the sample in place and keep it at just this sample for this sound bank. So let's say I just want this sample. I don't want it to keep randomizing. I don't know if there's a way to do it. Like it keeps randomizing. I don't want it to keep randomizing. I just want to stop at this one sample and keep that one sample and that's it. Don't get rid of the other one. So again, I'd have to like go in here and check which one it is and then delete all of them, or I could just lock it in place and then keep working around what I have locked. Anyways, there's no way to do that right now as far as I know. So yeah. All right. Lastly, one of the things that's also very time consuming and I find annoying, so much so that it really prevents me from being able to work in here, and that is zooming in and out of the samples to fix the fades. So whenever you're loading a sample in here, unless the fades are perfectly done and you're not going to edit anything, it's really a pain in the butt to like have to zoom in here. And then let's say like I just want this part to go all the way up to here. Okay, there you go. Now that's done. Then I can zoom back out. And let's say I'm doing that for another sample, and then I have to do the same thing. Zoom in here, go back here, and then bring this in here, and then zoom back out. Oh, I missed it a little bit. Go like this. So imagine you have to do that for all of your samples like this. Right, you get the idea. It can be like super time consuming. And then let's say I do this by accident. Like great, now I just messed that up. And if I'm all zoomed in, I have to zoom back out, put this all the way back in, go back in, put this in to where I need it to be. So it's really hard to and very time consuming to work with the fades in the program here. So that almost makes it unusable just because of how much time consuming it is to use this. So To me personally, I don't use Weaponiser for these kind of 3 reasons that I just mentioned. The file name's not visible. You can't lock anything in place. Let's say I have a sound that I really like that I want to lock in place. I can't just do that. And then also just the fades are just way too time consuming for me to use this one. And there's other options, which we're going to talk about later in the video, that I can use instead. So, but with that said, it is a great program, especially if you're looking for like an all-in-one. On the side here, you can search for sounds inside of your library or just on your own personal computer. So it is like everything built in one, everything that you could use, everything that you can need to create a gunshot sound effect, or whatever swings or whatever you want to create. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff here, like whooshes, magic spells, footsteps. There's pretty much anything you can do in here because it's a layering engine, right? So, but you get the idea. But yeah, so this is Weaponiser by Krotos Audio. All right, the next layering sampler that I have here is Soundweaver by Boom Library, and this is its own standalone plugin. So it's actually a software. It's a standalone software, and it's exactly what it does. It creates layers of different sounds. So I'm just going to do this here. I'm going to create a new project here. I'm not going to save it. So just create a new project here. So what you can do is just drag and drop whatever folders that you want to be layering sounds from inside of here. And then you can include keywords or exclude keywords. And then you can use your metadata to search the keywords if you want to include them or exclude them. I'm just going to keep it like this for now. And let's do 3 layers. Sure, let's do that. And let's randomize. So here you can choose to index it or not. And what it's going to do, I'm not going to do indexing, but what it does is it saves it for later use. So it's just faster at loading samples. All right, so now I can just grab this here. All right, here we go. And let's just play it. Right? Great, you got a sound. New sound. New sound. Right, you get the idea. You can create a lot of new sounds this way. Here you can randomize the starting position, the offset. Here you can randomize the pitch, which you can see on the sides over here. Right, and you can also randomize individual layers like this or like this. Right, so it's really easy to create new layers, new sounds like that. Once you have something that you like, you can just add it to your snapshots here and create a whole list of different sounds that you like, and then you can export those either as a complete sound effect, or you can export it with individual layers, like each layer exported out, so that you can layer them back into your DAW if you wanted to, and then work it some more from your DAW if you wanted to. So, all right, so this is a really quick look at it. Of course, you can do like other stuff here. Like if I wanted to, here we can add a new group. So let's say more sound effects. Let's do another group here. So we have group 1 and then group 2, and then I can just randomize just group 2 if we wanted to here. Right, maybe group 2 we want to be like super low pitched. Here, of course, you can go like this. Right, but you get the idea here. Maybe you want to have just your whooshes and here just your impacts. Maybe you want to have 4 or 5 different groups based on like how you want to layer your sounds. Anyways, it's really flexible, and there's a lot of options, things that you can do with it, and it's really great for that. And hopefully, I don't know if you could tell from the video, but it loads very quickly. So the sounds load very quickly. The software loads very quickly. It's very, very responsive, which is really great. So let's talk about a few other pros, and then we'll go into the cons. So like I said before, it's really quick and easy to use, and you can just get up and running with ideas very quickly. Another thing is that it automatically detects transients and layers them up right in front of you here. So everything is layered up at their transient point, which is great because then you don't have to line up sounds together. It's just ready to go, right? And then of course the other thing that's great is that you can randomize things, save them in your snapshots, and then export those snapshots directly into your folders. And it's just super quick workflow. It's just very fast. Like you don't have to load other plugins or anything. It's just everything's in here and it's done. But let's talk about some of the cons, because obviously there are no plugins in here. You can't load any kind of plugins or effects into the sampler here as of recording this session. So yeah, that's one thing. The other thing is the price. So right now it's going for $200, which is quite a lot just for a software that can only do this, and that's it. So it's very specialized, which is fine, but it's still quite expensive for just being very focused like this when there's other options out there as well. Another con that I've kind of listed down here is that it hasn't been updated since, I think, 2021. So it's been updated in 2022, but that's just for Apple Silicon update or something like that. But in terms of actual features, nothing's been added or changed since 2021. And I've done a whole video of little things that I wish were changed. And I'll put in the cards above if you want to see that full video review. But there's a lot of little things that I wish were changed. And one of them is for example, if I'm putting this up here like this, and I add it to my snapshot like that, and I just click plus, well, my parameter controls here, they stay the same even though they're different for each one. So this one, I only need them up to here, but for here, they don't change back, right? It stays stuck like that. The other thing too is like there's other little things like I wish there was like global controls for like resetting all the parameters. So right now, if I like reset all the pitch and randomize all the pitch here, there's no like quick way to like reset all the pitch as far as I know. Might be wrong about that, but yeah. And also for like soloing and muting different sections, it'd be nice to just have like global controls to just reset everything. All right, let's go into our next sampler here. And this is S-Layer by Twisted Tools. This sampler Reactor Ensemble is actually, I think it's over 10 years old by now, but it's still super useful. And I still hear and see people using it even a decade later because it's still that good and it still works that great. So let's go over like what it does and what it can do. So I'm just going to load some sounds into here and then we'll get into it. All right, so I just loaded some gadget sounds from my recent sound pack, the Steampunk pack. And there we go. If we wanted to get just started right away, all we could do here is just click the randomize button. And we can hear our sound. But let's dive a little bit deeper here. You can randomize pretty much any parameter that has this orange dot on it. So if I don't want to randomize the mute here, I can turn that off. Now, every sample is going to play every time I randomize. You can also set the certain parameter for how much randomization is going to happen. So right now, for my pitch, maybe I want it to go down 24 and maybe up 2. So it can be all the way down to 24 or plus 2. So anywhere in between those values is what the samples are going to be modulated. What's also great about this is I can trigger the sounds on my keyboard, right? So if I play higher on my keyboard, because I have this transpose button selected down here, just FYI, if I play higher, it's gonna be really quick, high pitch. Lower, you get this low, huge sound, right? So this whole variety that I can play with just with my keyboard, just by playing up or down my keyboard. Not to mention like the pitching, the panning, the start time, the delay time, the sample that it's gonna be choosing from. Right, so with all of these, you have a whole bunch of parameters that you can randomize and modulate, and then of course here you have like macros that you can assign to whatever over here based on the windows in the plugin here. So let's say I want my sample here. I like to have it on my samples just so I can rotate through different samples and see how they're going to be affected and pitched and sound. Right, but after that, I can just randomize and just get a whole bunch of new sounds. I can print them out and then start working from there. So it's really great just to generate sounds, generate effects, and just come up with new ideas with this. So let's just go over some of the pros and cons as a quick overview, but hopefully you get the idea of how it works. If you want to see a full video, there's a bunch online, and maybe I'll link some above. So first thing is that it's relatively inexpensive, $69, though you do need the full version of Reactor. They have said on their website that they're looking to update it so that it's available for the Reactor player. But this was back in 2022, at the beginning of 2022, if I'm not mistaken, and they still haven't done it. So who knows if that'll come out, but if it does, that'd be great. But so far, nothing. So yeah, and like I said, it's really quick and easy to just drag stuff in here and then start randomizing, and then you can get off and going with this plugin. So it's really quick and easy to go. And also, like I said, it's been 10 years and people are still using it. And there's a reason for that. It's because it's really good. Hopefully that can speak for itself. All right, let's go into our final sampler here. And this is going to be NVK Create. And this is a Reaper script. So it's native to Reaper. So if you're not a Reaper user, unfortunately, you won't be able to use it. But if you are a Reaper user, this is the ultimate, in my opinion, the ultimate layering sampler that you should be looking at if you're looking at getting one. So let's have a look at it and what it is. So here it is. When I load it, this is NVK Create. And what you'll see here is that it's just a search engine basically right now. It's just searching your databases that you already have inside of Reaper. So if you look inside of here in your view, Media Explorer, I have different databases set up here. And these are the databases that NVK Create is looking at to pull sounds from. So it could just be a search engine. So if I say I want a whoosh, there you go. I got some whoosh sounds. I can just grab it, drop it, and there you go. It's just a search engine. But how it's also powerful is that it's also, you can do Boolean or impact or hit. Let's do that. So now it can be whooshes or hits. So I can also click the question mark arrow to like randomize the sounds and see if I can find stuff. Right, so it's going to look through my entire library for whooshes and hits. Right, so anyways, just a regular search engine, but super powerful. But then the part that's really, really powerful is when you click the tab button, and now you're into multi-layer mode. And what it can do here is layer multiple sounds together. So let's say I want to have hits or impacts or let's say kicks. Okay, so it can do that. Now I'm just going to make sure that the length, I want maybe the sound effect to be about, let's do 1 second. I want to have 3 items. This is layers, so 3 layers, and I want 50 variations for them, okay? Pitch can be a plus, up to plus 9 semitones, and offset, let's put it at 0.06. There you go. So let's just click enter here and see them created. And as you can see, I'm talking right now. This is in real time. I'm not fast forwarding the video or anything. It's actually like generating all these sounds just like that. So it's pretty quick. So let's just wait for it to be done here. Almost done. All right, there you go. I have 50 sound effects that have just been generated like that using these either hits, impacts, or kicks. So now I can just play them. What's great, again, just like Soundweaver, it's like loading everything at their transient point. But like I think I had put, let's see here, plus or minus 0.09 or something like that, or 6. Anyways, everything's being lined up together so that nothing's like really off, right? Everything's being lined up together. Right, so you can go and through all of these sounds and come up with a whole bunch of different effects. And it's super quick and super easy to use. So this is how I like to use it. There's other ways to use it as well. Like I know it can record sound at the top of your, like 20 seconds of the last 20 seconds of your audio, and then you can drag that into your session if you wanted to. You can also, you can grab all these sounds, and with the file, the name of the track here, it's going to search for those tracks. I'm going to hit my preset for NVK replace. So it's going to replace all of these sound files now with whatever I put into here as the track title. So if I put like hits, it's going to search for hits. If I should, or impacts, whatever. So now they're all going to be different. So I just randomized and got all new sounds. Right, but you get the idea. I got all new sounds that are all loaded and done. So I can keep on doing this if I want to, hit replace, and then I can keep on coming up and generating hundreds of sound effects super, super quickly. All right, so let's talk about some of the pros. One is that it's super easy to use. Hopefully, as I've shown, you can see that. 2 is that it connects and works directly inside of Reaper. So if you ever want to put like effects into like certain layers or whatever, you can just do that. And then as you're randomizing it and playing through it, you'll just be hearing exactly that. So you can work with your third-party libraries, third-party effects, and plugins. Just like Soundweaver, it also detects transient, which is nice. It's also a search engine, and it works with your track names like I've shown here before, okay? So with all that, it's super, super good. Some of the cons, though, is that it does cost $150, but for what you're getting, I mean, you're getting a Prime plugin here, a Prime script that you can use inside of Reaper that's going to be super useful and part of your everyday workflow, most likely if you're a sound designer. One thing that is annoying is that when you do generate sounds like this, it labels your track names as whatever the first plugin is, as whatever your first sound file is. So here I have weapon hits, layer 002. That's what the track name is. I always want it to be like whatever I search for though. So I always have to replace that, which is kind of annoying, but honestly, it's like a little minor thing. And maybe it'll get fixed in a future update. I don't know. But anyways, that's just one thing to be aware of. But apart from that, there's not really any cons to it. In my opinion, this I use all the time. If you want to see like a full review, I'll link it above, but it's a really great sampler. And this is the one that I would recommend for people to use, especially if you're using Reaper. It's the one I go to, and ever since getting it, I have not been touching any of the other samplers that I mentioned in this video just because I haven't had to, and this one is just so much more of a faster workflow. And then with it, what I can do is I can also load LKC Variator, which is free, and then I can randomize all these other parameters of my individual sounds here. So NVK Create can randomize all the samples, and then with LKC Variator, I can also randomize samples down here with the file, but I can also randomize pan, pitch, tape stretch, rate, position, like all these other things, right? So like I don't need anything else to do everything that all these other samplers that I've shown in this video do. So this script inside of Reaper does all of that and more. So to me, this is kind of like my go-to. This is the one I use the most inside of for all my projects and all my work. All right, so I hope you found these useful and valuable, and if you haven't considered picking some of them up, maybe you will. I'll put links in the description below if you're interested. I'd also be interested to know if I missed anything or if there's some other sampler or layering sampler out there that exists that I haven't mentioned or didn't mention in this video that you guys use. So let me know in the comments below if you do. And I think that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to see more, like I said before, I'll put a video link in the cards above to see like a full review and comparison of some of these plugins that I've mentioned in this video if you want to go more in depth or learn more about them. So check that out. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.